In this video, I'm going to show you how to sculpt a face or, a head in general. And I'm going to make it as easy as possible. So first things first, we're going to start with a ball of aluminum foil. And you want this ball of aluminum foil to be kind of in a square shape, because if you look at a human skull, they aren't perfectly round. So what I like to do is rub the sides of the aluminum foil till I get the shape. That helps compact it down and make a smoother surface. Do you see that on the sides? And it saves your fingertips, because you push down real hard, it kind of hurts your fingers. So this way you can rub it against the table and it smooths the side down. Alright, so now you just got to pick what side you want your face to be on. I'm thinking that looks pretty good. Like I said, this is going to be an easy sculpture. So I'm going to take a lot of time to make it perfect. Alright, what I like to do is take, if you don't have a ball stylus, you can use the end of a paintbrush. And you just pick your spot where you want your eye sockets to be. And you just push them in. And you can kind of, make them a little deeper, kind of round them out a little bit. You don't want any of these hard, jagged edges sticking up on your aluminum foil. And I think that's pretty good. All right, now we're going to take some of the polymer clay. It's easier to work it with smaller batches, but there it is. So I got one of these from Walmart for, I think, $1. You just roll out your clay. And I like to do this a couple of times, just so, it gets good and worked in. And then you're just going to start wrapping this in the clay. And you do the same thing, get a little bit more. Now you can use different grades of Super Sculpty. There's the gray stuff is the more firm, and this stuff is softer. This stuff's pretty much the perfect consistency. It's not too, it's not too hard to work. It's not too easy. You don't want stuff that's too easy, where it's every time you touch it, you've destroyed what you just made. But you don't want it so hard that it's like, trying to mold concrete. That's just me personally. Like, some people like the harder Super Sculpty. And in some scenarios it is. I mean, I can work with both, but I just prefer this clay. All right. Nope. See, I done squished in that eye socket a little bit. All right. And then, like I said, you can take your paintbrush and you want to keep your eye socket so you don't want him to have bug eyes. I mean, unless you want him to have bug eyes, then then you can give him bug eyes. So what I like to do is you can look it over. Like, you can see right here, this side over here is kind of a little bit sunken in. This side's a little bit more bulbous. So all you got to do to correct that is put you a little ball of clay here, and then just start blending it in. And blending is like, I like to consider it to be like almost like just smearing. You can just smear it with your finger, and then it gets that nice where it looks like it wasn't ever added. See? So, and then you just keep working it till it looks like a sort of symmetrical. So like I said, he's not going to be 100% perfect. This is just a quick tutorial. So now what I like to do is take a toothpick, and I find out where I want his neck to be, and that's where I insert my my toothpick. You want it to go in, yeah, right there. That'll be all right. That way I can hold it without damaging the stuff that I'm going to be putting on here. So let's cut some pieces off here. All right. Now, when I'm making a face, usually I like to start with the nose and the forehead before I work on the eyes and the mouth. So let's do the nose, and we're going to do a very simple nose. It's not going to be perfect, but this is how I like to do a quick nose. You can just start by making the general triangle shape, with it more narrow at the top than it is at the bottom, and then you just stick it right on there. See that? And it looks bulbous, but you got to have that excess because you're going to work it into his face. So as you push it in, you're going to lose some of that dimension. So you can work the edges with your finger. Just keep pushing it. And that's really all you got to do to blend this stuff, is just get a hold of an edge of it and start pushing it, smearing it around. And it smears. This stuff, this particular clay, it smears very easily. So it blends. That's what you mean, blending. So we're gonna make this a man. If you wanted to make a woman, obviously you'd make the nose a lot smaller, unless you want to make a witch or something, or just trying to make it look like a specific person. Sometimes people don't have perfect faces, so and that's one of the things I like about sculpting a face, is you can it's a blank canvas, so you can just make whatever you want. It doesn't have to look like somebody in particular. So what we're going to do now is we're going to give it some forehead here. And I just take a little bit of clay right there, and I'm just going to work it in around the upper part of the head. And this will help create some more space up here, I guess you'd want to say. But we don't want too much space because we don't want to look like a caveman. Unless, I guess I could make a caveman. Alright, then I'll just go right back in redefine those eye sockets. All right, now let me stretch my hands out for a minute. And we're going to work on the mouth. So we're just going to take some clay. We're going to stick it right in there. And this is where tools come in handy. All right. Let me see. What do we got here? I like this tool because it kind of gets in there in those tight spaces. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that lip. All right, so now we can drag this bottom portion of the lip. We're just gonna kind of seat it up in there like that. So now that I got his bottom lip, we're going to give it some cheeks because he doesn't have any cheeks. So I'll roll up a couple of balls, and then it'll be sort of similar in size. You don't want one cheek bigger than the other. Those are pretty good. And we're going to put them right where we think those cheeks should go. And then we're just going to blend them in. And we'll use the tool to get in here in these against the nose here. So this also works pretty good if you're wanting to make, like a gnome or an elf or something. Something that's not exactly 100% humanoid. You can exaggerate these cheeks, make them really, really big or pointy. All right, there we go. We got some cheeks going on. Now let's work on this bottom lip. We're just going to push it right up to that other lip. And blend it in. Now we have a big old set of lips on this guy. So to negate that, you can blend in the edges more. We're gonna make it smaller. And then take my tool. And just work in those edges. Now, he needs a chin. I think he's chinless right now, so we're going to give him that. And I think that will help him out a little bit. So, in general, I'm just going to make a lump, and I'm just going to put it where I want it. And then we're going to just push it in. And then we're just going to work this little edge. Now he's got some chin. Now, what does he need? What do you think he needs now? We think he needs some eyebrows. Some good size. One's a little too big. I think those are some good sized brows. And then we're just gonna stick them on there. Looks like a pretty happy guy, huh? We'll start by blending in the top up here, if you notice. We'll move it, smooth it in, bring it down here, right down to these corners of the eyes and smooth it in. So now we're gonna work in this top part. And then, like I said, they can be exaggerated or they can be dialed back, and that's pretty simple to dial them back. Is you just just press them down, just blend them in more, and it makes them more subdued. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a different expression. Now this comes the part where you really need to have a good ball stylus, or or you can use the end of a paintbrush. Just for the sake of it, let's see, I'll use the end of a paintbrush. Just because some people might not have ball styluses. And we're going to just give him a couple of nostrils. So I'm going to kind of go in and then like that. And then we're just going to work around in those eye sockets a bit more. All right. So now he's kind of happy concerned. He's smiling, but he's nervous. He's like, I don't know. All right. I get in here and all right. There's a little piece of something right there. Now you can either use pre-made eyes, which I've rolled up these little balls, and they're somewhat easier to work with if you pre-bake them, roll up little balls of different sizes, and then you bake them in the oven, and that way you don't have to worry about messing them up. You don't have to worry about squishing them when you go to put them in the eye, or when you go to put them in the socket. But you can do it without it. Now we're going to do some eyelids. And eyelids can be kind of difficult because if you mess up, you got to scoop the eyeball out again and do it all over again. So you kind of want to make sure your eyelids are around the same size. And then what I do is I try to give them a little bit of an arc. And then I just seat them in there. Just like that. I always make the bottom ones, the bottom eyelids, smaller than the tops. Because otherwise he kind of gets a sleepy look. And then you can use and now we're just gonna blend it in with a tool. This is kind of a part you can't really do with your fingers. You're gonna mess up your eye if you try to go in there. I'm going to put a little bit of depth up in here, up under these eyebrows. Looking pretty cool. Smooth this out up in here just a little bit. Now we're gonna, let's give him a little bit, should we give him a little bit more nostril? Yeah, I feel like he needs some nostrils. So we're gonna take a little bit of clay, roll it out. And then we're just gonna cut that one a little too far on one side. And then we just stick them on the side here. Try to get them to line up a little better than that. There we go. I'm just going to get in here and work these little crevices. There we go. I think that looks a lot more nasally. And then we're just going to let's give him a little bit of texture around his lip. So what we do is just, you know, take a little tip of your and just create little lines. It's kind of like the cracks in your lips. And then we're gonna get that, you know, that little dip right there. Yeah, you get that. You got a little dip right here. Yeah, I gotta go through and do that again, but I wasn't liking the way that top lip was looking. It's a great thing about clay. It's a lot easier just to go through and just do it over. If you don't like it, it's all right. Just take it out. All right. Now we've done most of the face, and we have to give him some ears. And sometimes I like to just do most of the ear off of the body, and then you can attach it. But I contribute to making your ears like making the wings of a butterfly. Sometimes it's easier said than done because the wings of a butterfly, you know, they're symmetrical, same pattern, same size. So you wanna create that with the ears. You don't want one ear bigger than the other ear. So what I like to do is try to do them off of the body. I want to pay attention to the thickness. So I don't want one ear thicker than the other, but you can see this one. And this is where one of these knives comes in handy. These X-Acto knives. I'm just going to go in and cut a little bit away. And then you just kind of make almost the shape of butterfly wings. Because your ears kind of, you know, they have a lobe that goes down to the bottom, connects. Some people have ears. Some people's ears connect to the bottom, and some, you know, have the little dangly part. But I'm not going to take too much time. working on these because I could spend a long time on the ears. And, you know, you can spend as much time as you want on your face, you know, that you're making. The more time you spend, usually the better it's going to come out looking. I mean, and that's with all my pieces. You know, the more invested I am in the piece, the more quality you're going to get. So we're gonna, yeah, that'll work. Yeah, those will work. So we're just gonna take we're gonna make a little snake here. Actually, we'll just make a big one and we'll cut it in half. One of the things I like to do if I want to try to make sure something is symmetrical when I'm cutting it in half is you can take both ends, touch them, bring it to a point, and then you can cut it like that. And that's a good way to get a good even. So let's see. I want to start it right in here. I'm going to let it end right in there. So let's do the same thing. Almost looks like a pair of flip-flops. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to blend these ends in. And this is going to be that kind of ridge that runs along the outside of your ear. And I know this isn't an exact replica of an ear. If you take an actual image, I'd have to look at an image of an ear. You know, I'm doing this off of memory of what an ear generally looks like. So don't be critical of my ears. I'm just going to kind of press it down a little bit. And there is kind of one of the ears. And then what I like to do is I'll place it, and I take my finger right here, and that's where I blend it. And I'll start working up and around. I'll take my tool. And then we'll take this and we just want to kind of push down. And then we kind of push this way. And there we go. There's his ear. 1 down, 2 to go. And I'll show you how we'll fix that. We'll put a little thing there in a minute. So we're going to do the same on this side. I'm going to pick my spot. Oh shoot. I got to blend that first. Yeah, I better do that. Don't want to get too ahead of myself here. All right. That's looking pretty good. Now we're gonna want to look, make sure they're in the sort of same location. We're just gonna start doing the same thing. And now yeah, so we just make sure we're looking. And you know, and at this point, it's just a game of checking it over and looking and make sure and it's sort of symmetrical. This is going to be very hard to get it perfectly symmetrical. But, you know, I think we got a pretty good looking set of ears on this guy. And then we're going to, it doesn't take much clay, but we're just going to put a little ball of clay right here at the edge of the ear. And we're just going to blend it in. And that kind of creates that little spot right there. Now that one was a little too small. Sometimes I can have problems with the easiest stuff. All right. Now, what's the final thing that he needs? Some hair, of course. Of course. So we're just gonna give him some hair. See, that's where you start to wonder, what kind of hairstyle am I going to give this guy? I got an idea. We're gonna do this. We're gonna give him the old greaser style hair. We're gonna give him like where his hair is all combed back. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a whole bunch of these of different sizes. So some of these we'll make them a little smaller, thinner than others. Some of them, we don't need them that big. We're going to make some small ones now. So we can make all kinds of sizes, real skinny ones and thick ones, and that's going to give us dimension to his hair. And I'm going to show you how in just a minute. All right. Okay, so his head is kind of flat. He doesn't have much of a head. He's mostly eyebrows. So we could add some clay up here, but I'm not going to worry about it right now because I'm going to start actually. Yeah, we're not going to give him sideburns. He's going to start off with some crazy looking dreadlocks. We're going to give him some cornrow looking. Alright, we're going to start with these. And what I like to do here is we're just going to actually, where did my, there it is. Actually, we're going to start by using this tool to kind of root those in there better. And like I said, you gotta watch where your fingers go, where you're touching, because you could damage the shape of the face and stuff that you've already. So I'm holding here on the chin because that's a spot that I wanted him to have. So I want these ears to kind of stick out. So I'm going to keep those out like that. And then we're just gonna run these back. You know, without knowing it, I think I've sculpted the Green Goblin. Well, I can't remember that actor's name. Was it William Dafoe? But yeah, we're just going to keep making these lines. And then we're just going to add some more. Alright, well, do a little bit more on this side over here. But in general, if I want, I'd keep working the back, but I would already attach it to the body or to something. But from that point, you could put it on a little stand and bake it. So from this point on, he'd be ready to go into the oven or wherever you wanted him to go. And I guess, just to finish him off, give him that one last thing that he needs. I think he needs some eyebrows. So how we do these eyebrows? We could do add them on there physically, or I could actually just make them on there. Let's see. How should I go about it? Oh, she's gonna put them on. And then we're just going to take these and make little lines. We'll go underneath it and do the same thing. All right. I gave him some eyebrows. Anyways, I hope you guys liked the video. Subscribe, check out my other videos, and